that, we get our habits down, and there's all sorts of really cool things that we can accomplish. All right. Now, does everybody, Maria, are you under Rod and Lori?
No, Doug and Cam.
Doug and Cam, that's right. Okay. It's funny how, anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm just getting to know Jeanette's little web of people. So, and where they're all coming from.
We're just all one big happy family.
You are, I know. You guys are awesome. I love you. Tons of fun with you. Okay, so let's get talking about habits and consistency. So let me ask you this. Tell me, what is the easiest thing to be consistent with, and what is the most difficult thing to be consistent with?
Sometimes habits that I have a good habit already built on.
So, specifically, business habits. What business habits do you have, and what business habits do you know, if I had this habit, I know it would help me take my business to the next level?
Well, if I scheduled in 2-hour time slots every week and followed that, instead of being so scattered, I would be more successful.
When you say 2 hours, is that phone calling? Or is
that would be 2 hours of sitting down in front of my computer with my phone and calling people and following up with them and talking to them and plugging them into what they need to be plugged into. And that, if I did that consistently, I would have more success.
It's amazing how much we can get done when we're not interrupted. Or, one of the things I was, there was someone who spoke. I went to this small business conference last week, and I'm trying to remember who spoke or what exactly they said. But all of a sudden I realized if I turned off my phone and put it aside and hid it, and there was certain work I just did because I'll check my phone, especially if a notification pops up or something, then I'm back and forth. My brain doesn't stay 100% engaged on what I'm doing. Anyway, just a thought for you. If you're anything like me, maybe putting the phone aside and doing that one thing, don't open any other website, and just focusing on that one thing. How about you guys? So I would bet, Rod and Lori, I bet you two have totally different good habits and habits you want to form, just because you kind of divide and conquer your work up in your business. Lori's kind of the instigator, and Rod, you're kind of the supporter, would that be kind of correct to say?
Yeah. Supporter, as in work with people who are talking about wanting to get going and get started. I can help them get activated.
Mm-hmm. So what habits do you feel like you have solid right now?
Me? I have solid habits of talking to people. That's a really good habit of me. But also I can get sidetracked with things at home, spring break, family visiting, then it kind of sidetracks me. So if I could just be more consistent with having that time, like Jeanette said, this many hours, this block here, do this no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what.
Yep. Or even another thing that helps with that is, do you do a weekly planning session, Lori?
A weekly? No, what do you mean by that? Can you clarify?
So, do you start a day or two before whatever you consider the beginning of your week? And the beginning of your week might be the day before, or the beginning of your week might be Wednesday, because that's what starts a new pay period. You know what I mean? I don't know which that would be for you. Okay. So whichever one that might be, and you plan out the next week.
Uh-huh.
So one of the things you can do, okay, so I'm kind of sharing tips as we go. So you can say, okay, I have family in town this week, but here's a list of things I still want to get done for my business. And maybe those that can be done early morning, maybe you lose an hour of sleep here and there, and you get it done because you want to spend more time with family. You can totally move things around. Now, remember when we've done the personality, the motivational style, are you consistent, or are you variety?
Right.
What's hard is if you're consistent, it's a little bit harder mentally to do, but you you can totally do that. Do you know what I mean? You can have a weekly list of things to do, and you can move it around in your week. Yeah. It's just you've got to do weekly planning so that you still plug it in and move it around, rather it's a holiday, or rather there's, family coming in, or even if there's an illness or a planned medical procedure, you can still work smart. Right. And that's one thing that's interesting, is the difference between working for yourself and working for someone else. I will see someone have a medical emergency or a family thing, and they will go into the office as many hours as they can. But sometimes people that are self-employed just bag the whole day.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Especially if you only have so much leave or whatever, okay? And so if you think more like that, how can I still get a few hours in without sacrificing making this memory? The way you can avoid that is by having a weekly planning session.
Right.
And for me, my week starts Monday, but Sunday I kind of choose not to work too much. So I've got to be planning like on Friday. So I have Saturday to send out a couple of emails, purchase a couple of things, make a few phone calls. So my week is set up appropriately. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. Yeah. So doing it the night before the week for me doesn't work real well, because I might have something that I needed to do to make it more effective. Okay. So how about you, Rod? What's a habit that you feel like you have really set?
Well, I've kind of got into the good habit of when I get home, start making some calls, and during like break or whatever at work, if there's stuff that like certain emails need to go out, or
awesome,
or I connect really quick with somebody, I can do that then. So I've really been able to do that pretty well. But I like the idea of scheduling what I need to do and get those things planned out for this day, and that day. I kind of do that now that we're talking about it. I kind of slip that in, but I don't do it on a weekly thing. I do it, okay, tomorrow I can fit this in here and here and here. Right. I'm going to try doing it for like a week.
Yeah. And I love how you're choosing to use those break times to get in phone calls. I know this one gal that works a full-time job and does Mary Kay, and she is faithful about dropping things off on the way to work, about making phone calls during your lunch hour. Like, she maximizes every minute that she doesn't have to be working her full-time job. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty smart. Okay, Maria, how about you?
I think that as far as a habit, I'm sociable and I can go up and talk to anybody, but I also feel like I need to work on being more productive at what I'm going to be talking to them about.
Okay.
Because like I'm around a lot of people, and our kids are involved in a bunch of sports, and so I make friends really easily. Mm-hmm. But I need to kind of learn how to make that come back and to funneling people in my pipeline as far as for my business, rather than just like socially.
Right. So in your class, we just talked about those questions. You want either have a 3x5 card or put some of those questions on your phone and just practice rolling those off your tongue so that you're asking some questions that might lead to a business conversation. It'll be a 50-50 thing, and Lori's learning that and getting really good at it. Some become friends and some become customers, right, Lori? She's really good at like interjecting those questions. Hey, what do you do to stay healthy? Do you know what I mean? And see where it goes. And maybe Advocare will be a good option, and maybe it won't. But it opens up that window, and but having that card and having that reminder.
Okay. And then as far as like what we're working on, we're both really trying to work on calling people instead of texting people. Because it just seems to be so easy just to text, but then it's like no response, and they're like it died. Like we're not really. So we're working on that. Aldo has really good habits for reading, something that I don't have a habit of.
Inspirational. Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to, set time aside. It's hard because at nighttime I can't read because I fall asleep.
Yeah.
So I think I need to figure that out. That time in more in the morning, or.
Are you an audio learner?
Yeah.
Then just go to Audible. Just download some books and start listening to it on your way to work or in the morning when you're getting ready. Don't try to find time to read. You don't have time.
Yeah.
Multitask it while you're in the car or putting on your makeup or doing dishes or exercising. That's one thing I will encourage you to multitask. There's some things, no, you don't make phone calls and multitask. You know what I mean? You focus on your clients.
Right.
Listening to books, heck yeah.
Right. And then we're trying to work with Doug on building an actual work schedule because our lives are so crazy right now with our jobs and then our kids and sports and, you know, just all the things we have going on. We're kind of really trying to have that set up and, you know, this day we're going to designate this and this so that we know and either, you know, one of us can take that chunk because otherwise we're kind of both spinning our wheels all day. And then at the end of the night, we're like, we didn't call, we didn't do this, we didn't do that.
So that's where your weekly planning will come in handy. Okay. You really got to do weekly planning because if your kids' sports schedules are anything like mine, as the seasons change and all of a sudden we have practice and then all of a sudden we have a game and that was the night I used to work. Like Thursday used to be pretty open. There was a track meet tonight and my son had a swim banquet and I'm like, oh man, I screwed it up. Okay. So you got to be able to like look at a week in advance and go, okay, well, this week we happen to have sports. So now I'm going to have to do this during a lunch hour or early in the morning or on a different night. That weekly planning will make it so you can be able to move things around. Were you guys consistency or variety?
I don't think we took that class or went through that yet.
That was number one. If you watch the end of it, we talked about the motivational styles. Are you more consistency or variety?
Oh, okay. I'm more consistency.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what's hard when you have these sports things interfere is when your consistency kind of drives you crazy and you just kind of have to like tough it out. Like you just have to move things around. There, you know, and Jeanette's probably, I would dare say she's probably very, very good at that. She's been doing it for years and her kids have been in activities. And that's the thing. You have to just look ahead and plug in your family thing first so you don't regret it. And then go, well, guess what? This is the night I usually work, but I'm going to this week. And so you get consistent about the action, but it just may not be consistent on the same night.
Right. And I think as we develop, like we just moved, you know, just having moved back to Walla Walla and like reestablishing ourselves here, we figured, oh, let's get, you know, what's the easiest thing is let's get the kids and stuff because then we'll get out and meet people, right? You know, we're going to get out and meet all these people and now
So
we're doing that. But we're like, now we got to figure out, okay, how do we bring it about the business aspect of it as we're talking to these people?
Right.
Because, you know, one of us, we have both kids in sports, and so both of us are there, but one is with one kid and one is with the other kid. And so it's like, okay, so now it's like, you know, getting those questions down or that habit of, you know, not just getting to know the people, but really getting to know them, you know, on a different level. So
if I may make one more suggestion, okay, your kids are young, right? If these seasons are like 2.5 months, you have a mixer planned for as soon as that season's over and all those people you met, you get them to that mixer. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you just kind of have to think a little bit ahead because it feels like forever when you're in the middle of a sports season, like this will never end. And it's really only 2.5 months, okay? Whatever they're playing when they're that young, it's never more than 2.5 months. That's it. So you just got to get it set up or start having coffee with people or on a Saturday morning or a time there isn't that sport. You just got to work around it and then hit it hard as soon as that season's over. Like that's the only way you can do it. You just have to go, okay, soccer, t-ball, whatever you're doing, it won't last forever. You got
to kind of paint a picture. So our kids just finished basketball, and that was only once a day. Well, now we got them into soccer, which is twice a week, and t-ball, which is twice a week.
Yeah.
It's, you know, soccer, t-ball, and then we joined a co-ed adult soccer team. So
you just, you know, don't ever sign your kids up for more than one sport again.
Yeah.
That's about all I can tell you.
Just don't do it.
Don't do it. One at a time. Yeah.
Oh, and then spring break, they had swimming lessons. So it's like swim lessons, rush, change. Now it's soccer, rush. When do we eat?
I know. But you just got to think outside the box, and you just got to maximize the people you meet, and then make sure you keep that list. So as soon as one of those sports ends, you have time to have a mixer and you have time to start going with them. Okay? Just hang in there. God knows what you're working on. He knows you're trying to be a good mom, and he knows you're trying to run a business. It's going to work out. Okay? Just keep going. I mean, you can't make more than 24 hours, but I promise you, when you really are trying to do the best you can, that he sends you opportunities based on the amount of time you have. I don't know why it works out that way, why it's such a miracle, but it just does.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
So my heart goes out to you, Maria, because when we started Advocare, I was working my nursing job full-time plus. So that meant, until 4 or 5 o'clock at night. I'd get home, I'd have to put dinner on the table, or I'd want to put dinner on the table for the children. While I'm at the table, I'm working on my charting, spend an hour or 2 with them at night, get them to bed, read a story, and then after that, I'm getting back and doing my charting for work. And Bob's also working full-time. And I was in choir, and that was once a week. Wasn't paying me, so I chose to stop doing that for then. 4 days a week during my lunch hour, that was when I made phone calls. I had like 1/2 hour, and I was very strategic about writing down everything, like charting my phone calls, like I charted my nursing appointment job, when I was meeting with people. And then Thursday night, we had to make that our Advocare night, just from 7 to 9, whether we were having a mixer or not. Maybe it was just phone calls. That was if we had to get childcare, we would do that. But one of us, like Bob, would watch the kids and then leave me alone in the office for 2 hours if we didn't have a mixer. And then Saturday morning from 10 to 12, or from 9 to 11 was a great time to get people on the phone, because many times they're not gone yet, especially at 9 a.m. They're not quite gone yet, out and about. And so those were our Advocare hours for 2-3 years. That's how we did Advocare. And sometimes it was more time, but most of the time it was like 4 to 5 hours a week. And we built it to Ruby that way.
Yeah, I really liked what you said about I stopped doing something, for the meantime that wasn't paying.
Yeah.
That's something that we need to consider, like the co-ed thing.
Yeah.
That's not really important, Even though we like to do it, we can use that time for something else, for Advocare.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you work hard enough for a short period of time, you'll get your co-ed back.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the thing. But put a time limit on it mentally for yourself, because it feels like it is hard to make sacrifices without thinking that sacrifice time will ever end. Will I ever get to this point? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Schedule in how much and what you got to do to get to a certain point. Okay, I need this many people by this time. So this is how many interviews I got to have a week. You got to know what you have to accomplish to then be able for it to feel worth making the sacrifice. Because I know you guys love soccer. Like, I know that's one of your things.
Oh, yeah.
And, and you got to fill your bucket, and you got to have a little downtime. But you might not for a couple months, and then it's worth it. So have an end time mentally, or you'll just kind of get mad and kind of give it a mental, never mind, I won't say it. That was not very fun. Okay. Hello, darling. Okay. Or is it Jill? Who's this with the glasses on?
That's Jill Simmons.
Hi, Jill. I haven't met you. So tell us real quick. Oh, you and me didn't.
Yes, you are.
Tell us a little bit about one of your best habits. We're getting a little sidetracked here, but I'll bring it all together.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm new.
That's okay.
So I'm learning new habits.
Okay. All right. We'll let you off the hook.
Full of learning.
You're learning. That's your habit. Yeah, that's a great habit, is that you're actively learning about your product and your business. That's a great habit. That's an awesome place to start. So, Julie, how about you? I just unmuted you. Any wonderful habits you want to share with us?
Well, I'm very good at being consistent with taking notes for sure. And keeping track of what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, how long I'm spending, because I want part of my story to be like, I spent this many hours and this is what I was able to do and accomplish. And, so I'm really good at that part right now. I don't know. Jeanette told you.
Yeah, I heard your good news.
Yeah, I just woke up off the couch. I was like, I got to get up. And my husband brought me a Rehydrate because I've been really shaky all day. Yeah, it's okay. I have low blood pressure, so.
You're good at notes. Anything else?
No, but I'm excited because I didn't know that I wanted to be real consistent with Advocare until just a few weeks ago when God kind of rolled out the red carpet and blessed me with, helping some folks and, and then I'm like, oh, this is good. So I think I want to pursue more consistent habits for consistency. Hey, yeah, it was perfect. Jeanette invited me to your call, so thank you.
You bet. Awesome. Okay, and I have someone down here on the phone, the last 4 digits, 7050. I feel like I should know that number. Forgive me if I don't remember.
It's Haley.
Oh, of course I do. Haley girl, how's it going? What's your best?
Good. How about you?
Good. What's your best?
Making phone calls on my breaks. I've been doing a lot more of those, whether it's touching with people on product.
Good job.
New prospects. And then calling on my way home from work. So a little bit more on the phone, which was my biggest weakness in the beginning.
That is awesome. Anyone that tells me to get on the phone more, I am like, major kudos, girlfriend, okay? Because that is, if you can do that, do you realize people who get over the fear of the phone make 400 times more than those who don't? That's why Lori's whooping it up, okay? Because she has no fear. She sees this as a cha-ching moneymaker instead of something that has teeth. I was showing them my phone. Right? Okay? Some people, okay, this is a money maker. That is your ching. Imagine credit card going through that every time you get on it. Right? In a good way. Depositing, not taking out. Sometimes we don't think so about credit cards. Okay, awesome. Haley, I'm so proud of you. You're my little quiet one. I scared Haley one day, but we're still friends.
Oh.
So.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so let me tell you, my friends, this is one of the things. Okay, first of all, habits, 90% of what you do in your life is out of habits. And let me tell you a quick story. So some of you know Alex and Zach. I know, Julie, you know them really well. One of the things that was so interesting when I first talked to Alex and Zach and when they were trying to decide if they were going to work with me, bless Zach's heart, he was so sincere and so honest. He was like, man, I come home from work, I'm tired, I play a little while with the boys, I have some dinner, we start watching a TV show, and man, I just kind of forget to work my business. And I said, okay, Zach, if I could help you form a little bit better habits and maybe you work a couple nights a week, but you still have time with your boys, how would that feel? And I think that's literally what got him to work with me, because he was like, oh, you mean there's a balance? Like, I can have time with my boys and I can work smart. And they're whooping it up because they do. You'll see them on Facebook. You'll see them deliberately make time for their kids, and you see them deliberately working. And it's that kind of energy which can totally change your life, where you can go from having a new kind of freedom because you're deliberate in your actions, okay? And I was like, Zach, what you're doing right now is just simply out of your habits. Because it breaks my heart when I see people say, I'm lazy, or I'm unorganized, or I'm unmotivated because they went 7 days, Sunday night came to go, I didn't spark anyone this week, and they're like beating themselves up. I'm like, friends, it's just because it's not a habit. It has nothing to do with education, skill, desire. Guess what? You go along your daily routine. You get up at a certain time, you eat a certain thing, you do a certain thing at your lunch break, you do certain things with your kids, you have a night routine. You just didn't take the time to insert it into your schedule, your actual work activity. So, Maria, you're going to love this, because you're going to go look at your schedule, and granted, I know it's really full, but you're going to look at it and you're going to go, hey, here's an hour, I could work it. Like, you're going to think outside the box, and you're going to realize you have to make habits. One of my things because I'd rather work in the morning before my kids get up. I'm like, I'm going to find clients on the East Coast because I talk to them at 6 a.m. and it's 9 a.m. their time and my kids aren't up. Okay? Like, that's one way for me to think outside the box and to work at odd hours. Okay? Like, there's weird things that will pop into your head. Now, one of the ways you help yourself get weird things to pop into your head is by setting your goals. And some of you have heard me talk about goals. Some of you worked with me. Some of you just heard me talk for an hour. Goal setting is one of my things. And when you have those reminders around you all over what you want to have happen, all of a sudden your habits start changing. I can tell you Lori's habits on how many she talks to and the way she talks to people has changed completely in the last 10 weeks, right? Okay. And it wasn't that she wasn't working before. And it wasn't that she wasn't working the best she knew how. She just formed some new habits, and now she's just more effective than she was beforehand. Okay? And even Jeanette has changed a few little habits since I started working with her in the end of December. Okay? This is just a matter of taking one thing at a time. But when you put your goals up, you're more likely to remember what you want to work on. So just a really quick little story. There was a gal I worked with. She was a swimmer, and she had this high school coach told her she couldn't accomplish this goal of a 25-second, what's called 50 freestyle. From one end of the pool to the other and back, it's the shortest distance. One do it 25 seconds. Her coach said she couldn't do it. I said, okay, I don't coach swim, but I coach mental. Come hang with me. We'll see what we can do. And we started putting up 25s everywhere. We cut them out in vinyl of school colors, put them on her walls in her room. She had it on her lunch bag. Her mom wrote it on her napkin and her lunch bag every single day. She had a bracelet with it. It was the last thing you see before you dive into a pool is your toes. We had it painted 25 on her toenails, but 25s everywhere, okay? We made sure she remembered what she was working on. Well, she surpassed her goal, which I was so excited. She went under 25 seconds, which is fast, especially if you only swim high school swim. And I called her mom because I thought, okay, I wonder if she would accomplish this anyway. She was athletic and she had really good parents and she's a good kid. So I called her mom. I said, okay, I'm curious. Did this whole little thing we did with these 25s, did this really have anything to do with the goal that she accomplished? And she said, oh, yes, because I was kind of expecting her to say, I don't know. She said the thing was, okay, so when you're a swimmer, when you're doing laps, okay, that's like your swimming time. But then you do what's called dry land, which means like you're, either stretching or strength training or cardio, or there's stuff you do. It's called dry land. It just means you're not in a pool. She says, one night, she says, Mom, I got to run to the gym. She said, but it's 9 o'clock at night. She says, but I promised myself I was going to do my dry land every day, and this is the only time I have, and I got to go do it. She says her habits changed. Catch that? Part of why you don't do certain things in your business is just because you literally forgot. It wasn't scheduled in. You got to the end of the week, and you just forgot to even work on it. That is literally all it is sometimes. Sometimes there's some fear and there's some hesitation to do certain things. But part of the time is just simply because you don't remember. You don't have enough reminders up. You don't have it scheduled in your calendar. You don't have a reminder that dings off. That's half the time all it is. Okay? So you'll see other classes I have on goal setting. Use your little sticky notes. I don't have any other colored ones. These are black ones because one of the companies I work with, their top level is black. So then we write on these with silver. This is to motivate them to go for black. But whatever, Post-it notes you want to get, change them out every week or every 2 weeks. Luckily, you guys don't go a whole month. You guys have these 2-week pay periods, so that helps. But believe me, you should see. So Lori and Rod, I'm kind of mean to them, and I mean it in the most loving way. So I was talking to them at the end of last pay period. They'd put up their new Post-it notes. And their goal, I thought they could set a higher goal. And so I kind of picked on them and I said, rip them all down and raise that goal. And they were like, what? And I'm like, just do it. And anyway, it turned out to be a good thing. But you really got to change them out on a really regular basis. Okay. Now there's a couple other things that we put on Post-it notes. If you have what we joke, Lori likes to call stinking thinking. If you have some little negative thing or a thing you're having a hard time believing, that you're going to accomplish. So maybe Julie, I know she's working on becoming an advisor. Maybe she already has. But so let's just pretend she was having a hard time believing that that was going to happen. You need to replace it with really good positive words. And you kind of fake it till you make it. And Lori has seen the benefits of that, of putting those positive words and making sure you're saying words like courage and brave, the things you want to believe about yourself. Not that I'm not, I don't have fear. You say I am brave. Okay, so make sure it's in the positive. So those are the first two things that you want to do. Make sure you have your goals posted. Make sure you're feeding yourself with positive thoughts, just because those things remind you. Now, one of the things I see so seldom happen in this business is that you actually look at your goal and you break it down as to how much activity you need to do. So let's say, for example, Lori, I know I can ask you anything. Give me a number of how many new business builders you want to have in this next pay period on your whole team. Just give me a number, and you can even lie about it. Just give me a number.
Let's do 3.
3 on your whole team, like everybody's bringing in team builders?
Yeah, by business builders, you're talking about an advisor who wants to build a business.
I mean, people you've sat down and you've interviewed and they've said, yeah, I'd like to make this a business.
Okay. Oh, how many would we like to have in a pay period?
How many would you like to have in the next 2 weeks?
Next 2 weeks in our entire organization?
Yes.
Let's do 3.
3. Okay. Can we say 4 just because it makes my division easier?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 4.
4. That's exactly what I was going to say.
All right. Okay, so we're just going to pretend 4. Okay. So Lori knows she has 2 activities she can do. She can do her own one-on-ones, or she can go out and encourage her team to do 3-way calls, right? Those are basically your 2 activities to bring in business builders, correct? Assuming you have people on your list. Now, if you look at it and you go, I don't have anyone to interview, that means first you need to do some finding of people, and then you need to schedule those one-on-ones or 3-way calls, right? Okay, so you have to break that down every week. So we're going to say on average, Lori would do one-on-one, because I know she can recruit up a storm, okay? So we're going to pretend half of those are hers and half of them are other team members. So she needs to do probably 2 to 3 interviews in a week, knowing that at least one of those will close and they'll want to become a business builder. And then she needs to encourage team members. Maybe she needs to call 5 team members in hopes that at least 3 of them do 3-way calls, and we recruit another one. Do you see what I'm saying? This is what I see missing all the time in people's businesses, is actually having an educated. Now, I know there's not a guarantee, but we know Lori's numbers. We know she closes anywhere from 3 out of 4 to 2 out of 3 of her interviews. So these are really safe numbers for her. In fact, she'll probably hit higher than the goal of her 4. Okay? You've got to break down your goal. Now, today's Thursday. You just closed a pay period. This is the perfect time to set goals for your next 12 days. Okay? So if you want so many new people on product, if you want so many new people looking at the business opportunity, you need to think about, okay, I want to get 3 on product. I'm going to have a mixer. I need to have at least 6 there. That means I probably need to call 12 people to get 6 people there. Did y'all follow? Sometimes people, like, math goes through my head really fast. That happens to be my strength. And other people look at me like, Michelle, where are you coming up with these numbers? You kind of double your number for every goal you want to have, because not everybody says yes. That's basically what I'm telling you. Does that make sense? Okay. And then you schedule in that time to make those phone calls. You schedule in the mixer. Well, I guess you probably schedule the mixer, then the time to make phone calls, whichever it is. You make that list of people, but you put these things in your calendar, because it's so easy to have a week, 2 weeks, 30 days go by and go, okay, that was my goal. Why didn't it happen? And it simply was because the habits didn't get made. So if you're looking at the agendas that I sent you, hopefully you clicked on both big green buttons. Yeah, becoming business minded. Okay. you want to put down what your monthly goal is on how much money you want to make that month or that pay period. You can change this to a 2-week thing instead of a 4-week thing. And you decide what exactly you need to accomplish, then what activity do you need to create to make that thing or help that thing become accomplished. Okay, so Maria, do you mind giving me an example of what you would like to have happen in the next pay period, either people on product or new business builders?
We definitely need to get some more business builders. So I would love to have in this next pay period at least one business builder, but 5 people on products with, memberships and working on their discount. But, so 6 total, I guess, 6 total people, 5 of them with products, 1 as an actual advisor or business builder.
Awesome. I love it. Okay. So if we broke this up into 3 and 3 a week, right? Okay. Do you have a list of at least 12 to 20 people that you'd like to talk to about Advocare?
Probably 12, closer to the 12 mark, yeah.
12, okay. Yeah. So when could you find time in your schedule to make that list and get their phone numbers, email addresses, and first make that list? When do you have time in your schedule to do that? Do you have time tonight?
I'm sorry, do I have time tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably have time tonight.
Okay, so get that list made. Now, how do you want to present the product to these people? Do you want to hold a mixer, or do you want to do all one-on-ones?
Probably one-on-ones.
One-on-ones?
Would be better for us right now until we can get a few more people with products and then do mixers for them.
Okay, so and the other thing you could do is try to maybe find some ways to meet with 2 people at once to maximize you and all those time. Okay, so what I would like you to do is to look at your calendar. So hopefully you guys are kind of mentally doing the same thing. Okay, I'm going to mute you just for a second because you have cute little kids that are doing something fun. You need to look at your calendar and highlight and go, okay, these are the days I have time to do one-on-ones. Do you see what I'm saying? You got to look ahead and look at that calendar. And you go, okay, now I'm going to get on the phone and I'm going to do everything I can to schedule these people in these times. And if you put that goal down, 5 customers, 1 advisor, 5 customers, 1 advisor, put that everywhere in your house. Make that part of your prayer. All of a sudden, those people will pop up and will fit into those time frames about 80 to 90% of the time. Okay? It's one of those things you just have to try. And this is what starts getting you in a habit. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay? So, Jill, are you seeing that? Like, you've been educating yourself. You're, like, getting excited about that product. You're getting, your head wrapped around the business. Did you start doing that mentally? Do you know what you want to have happen in the next 2 weeks? Did you, like, visually look at your calendar and think about when you could fit that in?
Yes, I'm working my way to become a silver, so.
Awesome.
I'm trying to get there, but I know I have some people that I need to contact, so.
Okay.
My goal is to contact prospects, I guess you would say.
Okay. So how many people do you need on product and how many people do you need as new advisors or new business builders?
However many, I don't know. I'll take whoever.
Okay. So
I have 3 that I'm working with right now.
Okay. But see, Jill, this is what I'm telling you. This is where you have to say what you want. You have to say what you want, and you have to plan out how much you're going to work. Okay? Now let me tell you a little tip so that, because I like your attitude to a certain point where you're going, hey, I'll take whatever I'm sent. So when we set our goals, one of the things that you do to be deliberate but still allow as many blessings to flow in as possible is you say, I would like to have at least 3 new customers. Because if God sends you 5, you're not going to turn the other 2 away, right? So you can put the word at least,
right,
but you do need to set some sort of specific goal, and you need to set specific chunks of time in your schedule for that to happen.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. So can you tell me a more specific number?
Well, I have 2 that I need to contact. One of them, I need to see if she's interested in doing more product than just Spark.
Okay. So I'm going to ask it one more way.
2 new.
I want to know how much business you want to do by next pay period. Don't worry. God might send you somebody tomorrow that you did not know was on the radar. Don't worry about who you think you have to work with. I mean, because I can tell you, like, I'll even let Lori and Rod tell the story. I pushed them to set a number for a goal last pay period on sales. They kind of thought I was a little crazy, and they didn't totally hit it, but they hit higher than they thought they were going to. Okay? And people come into your life when you put down how much you want. You have to be brave enough to put a number down. And it's uncomfortable at first. Like, I can see you going, Michelle, please don't make me commit to this. Okay? And it's okay if it doesn't happen. It will happen the next time. Like, you keep working towards it. Okay? Can you be really brave for me and tell me a number, like what you want to have happen by next pay period?
I'm just going to go 200 because I sell a lot. I don't know. I just have a lot going on.
No, I don't care what your number is. I will not judge you for how big or small your number is. That's not the point. The point is that you put down a number so God knows what to help you work on. Does that make sense? So, Lori, tell us a little bit. Okay, just listen to the story, okay? Lori, tell her a little bit about how you've put down numbers and how things have happened that, like, you didn't expect.
Okay, that's really simple. So once we started doing this trainings with you, we always are looking for 3. 3 has always been our number. We've always stuck with that. And so once we started working with you and we started talking about, finding, just posting notes and believing that God's going to put those people in our lives, it actually doubled. We were shocked. So we increased our number to 6. And that wasn't even looking for 3. I mean, I was looking for 3 people. I was looking for $3,000 every 2 weeks, and it was going to 4,000. And I was getting 4 and 5 people on the team a week, or in 2 weeks. And then when we had the 3-week pay period, I had doubled it to 6. I'm looking for 6,000, 6 people, and we got 8,100. And I was like, oh my goodness, Michelle. And the thing is, though, we didn't have the people. Actually, that's not true. People just started calling out of the blue that I hadn't talked to. They just started showing up. It just started happening. And it was just one of those things. Every day I'd look at that 9,000, I'd be like, I don't know if this is going to happen, but I'm going to have some faith here. And it started to slowly materialize, but not how I thought it would.
Mm-hmm. Right. And maybe a little transparent here. On Monday, it was not even 7 yet. Yeah. And we were rather kind of bummed out, yeah. You know what? And the truth is, and I know this about me and everything else, is when I set goals, if I always hit my goals, then I set my bar too low. I need to set it high enough so that sometimes I don't hit it, but I don't like not hitting stuff. I was really kind of bummed out on Monday.
Yeah, me too.
But by Tuesday we got it up over 8.
Yeah.
So, we didn't goal, but we did better than we were doing before.
Yes.
Then, that was actually our best paycheck this year.
Yeah.
Better than January. So
wow.
I'll go for that.
Yeah. And that's what was so fun, because when I talked to him Monday, I swear you guys only told me 54 is the number I remember. But I could be wrong. I just remember I was like, because I felt bad. I was like, oh dear. Because I pushed Lori. Lori had put 6,000s all over her house. And I said, what in the heck are you doing? You hit 7,000 last time. You said to go lower than we. I'm like, go put 9,000s. I was kind of
pushy.
I was. I'm like, and I could hear the Post-it notes pulling off the wall and her putting up new ones. It was really, I'm like, no, just go rip them down. But Rod only wanted to put 5. I'm like, yeah, well, you can have Rod call me when he gets home because you're not putting up a lower number than what you did last time. And anyway, they were just like, Michelle, you're crazy. And that's okay. And, and so Monday they were bummed and I felt horrible. And, I say this little prayer and all of a sudden it comes clear up to 81, which it's not 9, but it's still more than expected. Okay. So it's really cool what can happen. It doesn't matter how big your number is, Jill. You can put 200, you can put 30. I don't care what you put down. It's put something down so you can see the miracle happen. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, good.
Okay. It's not that you need to have anybody else's goals. That's not, we're not comparing you at all. We're making you emotional. It's going to be okay. It's really exciting what happens. I wish I could give you a big hug because bless your heart. I know this is so scary sometimes. It's okay, Jill. You're really, really normal, I promise, because Lori felt like you did 10 weeks ago. When I told her to set goals and she knew what she'd been doing the last 2 years, she kind of looked at me like you're crazy. And then she saw it start to happen. It'll be okay, hon.
Okay.
Bless your heart.
I know. I just I teach. So I'm up at 5 and I don't get home till after about 5:36 because I live away from where I teach. I'm also taking 2 college credit classes because I've been asked to become an administrator. So I'm very busy, and so I'm just overwhelmed, I guess, right now. But I have a lot of people at school that I'm helping with Advocare, and that's where I guess I do a lot of my business, my coworkers, and and I guess my new customers that I'm branching out to aren't at my school; they're in other towns, and so I'm kind of reaching out of my comfort zone and. On the 25th of the month, I'm doing a booth in a town 2 hours away by myself. And so I just want to learn how I can be better. And I mean, I don't know, I'm just learning. I know I say that a lot, but I'm learning.
You are. And look at you making it work with the limitations you have. Do you understand how amazing that makes you? Whereas other people would just say, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Okay. And Jeanette told you how limited her time was. And she used it, when you got travel time, you're going to get on the phone, you're going to do it legal, get a headset, do it safe. And here you're finding people at work and you're finding people out of town and you're working really smart and doing that booth. Okay. But this is the thing, Jill, like I'm going to try to say this in a little bit different way. One more time. God knows your limitation. Okay? And I promise you he will work miracles within the limitations that you have. It's totally okay to shoot really high and let God give you a greater miracle than you even expected could happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. There was a gal that was working with me. She was newly separated. She really didn't want to get a regular full-time job, and her time was really limited. She worked at this little coffee shop thing. She sold a different product, but it was also a health product. She goes, I got to talk to this gal for about 30 seconds. She went home. She looked up my website, bought the biggest kit, and I made $50 because she was scared. She's like, what if I can't make this work? I said, okay, did you just hear yourself? 30 seconds. She looked up your website. You made $50. Now, how generous was that of God? I'm like, every time you got scared, because I bet you have some miracles that happen. You're working with people at your school. You found a booth to do. You have some other people out of town. So you've had a few little miracles happen. You've got to run that through your head every time you start, because right now you're kind of in a little freak out mode. You're like, you don't understand, Michelle. I have -3 hours in a day to do this, right? You're like, and so it's not that I'm not understanding, because I am. But you've got to choose to run the reel through your head of what has happened positive so far, because more is coming. You're working smarter. You're working harder. You're learning. You're educating yourself. Okay? It's going to come, hun, because you are working. Okay? Tell God what you want to have happen. Let the miracle happen. It really is cool. Okay? Will you email me, tell me your goal so I can share with you in 12 days?
Okay.
Yay. Okay.
Yay.
All right. This happens. This.
Can I ask a quick
Sorry.
Yeah.
Jill, do you have that booth survey that Michelle helped me put together?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Because that's so wonderful. And you ask them the questions. You don't have them fill it out. You actually survey them. And then you can relate, create a friendship right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then call them and text them. Because sometimes, I'm following up with people that I talked to in October still. So that's a great way to fill up your pipeline. Those surveys are wonderful.
And there's a free class on my website about how to do booths and expos. Okay. So we won't be told, and if you make sure you get Jeanette's copy of the drawing slip, because Jeanette's has done really well. She already had some really good questions. I made a few tiny tweaks, but okay, have her. She's busy, so email her and ask her for it if you don't have her copy yet. Okay, but watch that class a couple times, even if you're just listening to it in your car, if you get a decent signal, like listen to the YouTube video, and it'll help you. Like, you just want to ask questions. Don't watch it, just listen to it, okay? We're getting, my stuff will soon be podcasts. We're working on that, okay? We're recording the audio separate from the videos this next week, so we'll get it so you can listen to it in your car easier very soon. Okay. All right, we've kind of had a tailored creating habits class here for everybody. Okay, so make sure you're using this becoming business-minded form, okay? Decide what you're going to do. Like, if you start a new job, you decide what you're going to do for childcare, you decide what you're going to wear, you decide what you're going to eat, if you're going to put in some crock pot meals. Do the same thing with your business, okay? Especially because a lot of you are working at around full-time jobs. Make those deliberate decisions just like you would when you're starting a regular regular job, and you'll have so much more success, okay? Treat it and work as hard for yourself as you would for somebody else. Work that smart and that deliberate, all right? So some things you want to consider with your habits are follow-up is a major one. If you spend all that time meeting people and don't follow up, then it's a big waste of time, okay? So follow up on your people. Making sure, set an alarm every single week to replace your goals. Put up new Post-it notes every week, right, Lori? Or every 2 weeks. Advocare people where you guys have pay periods every 2 weeks. I don't mind if you do it every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks is your habits, okay? But put that alarm for Tuesday night after you close out, or Wednesday morning, whichever one works better for you. Make that a habit. I was just talking to another group there with Unique, the makeup, the eyelashes, and it was funny. Their big leader has a huge team, kind of the Jeanette of this group. She goes, my month started really slow, and I thought, what's wrong? And she goes, I just realized I hadn't set my goals for the month. I put up all my Post-it notes, and by the end of that day, all this stuff had happened. She goes, I don't know what's wrong with me. I hadn't put, because she really sees it as another way to pray always. You put it out there, what you want, and all of a sudden, it like, whoo, starts coming in, okay? Yeah. So don't ever take that for granted. When you feel things are going slow, go, when's the last time I set my goals? Get it down, okay? Put those down. Do your scheduling, both your weekly scheduling and then your daily scheduling. I like to do it about 36 hours before. If I do it the night before, I'm usually too tired to think clear. And if there's a phone call I missed or something like that, I like to do it about 36 hours before. Okay? Let's see here. So we're basically out of time. Do you guys have some new ideas for establishing the habits you want to establish? Have I made enough people cry tonight? Sorry, Jill.
Well, I just had a text with Alex about a gal who wants to lose a lot of weight.
Mm-hmm.
And she's very, very discouraged and upset about her situation. And I said, Alex, you can do the sticky note thing for her. Have her do it for her weight loss, not for her business habits, but for, you know, that she is a champion, that, and she can do this, and goals, you know, it may maybe not the biggest goal, but each week, what is she trying to accomplish, and have them all over to. And so I see that we can do this with people in our business, helping them achieve their goals in regards to whatever it is.
Absolutely.
Weight loss, weight gain, muscle, whatever they're trying to work on.
And saying what you want to have happen.
Yeah.
Saying you want to be at this weight versus sometimes it depends on people's thoughts. Sometimes the word lose is negative. Other times it's positive.
Yeah.
It depends. Or I'm going to gain this health at this weight, or gain this much muscle, or, you know, gain this much more mobility or something like that. Make sure you have them put down what they want to have happen versus not happen. I know
Yeah.
it's kind of weird, but, you know, saying I won't eat sugar all week, that just makes you want sugar. Whereas I eat healthy, I love fruits and vegetables, those kind of things. But yeah, all these tips are awesome to use with your clients. Okay.
And your kids too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. If you see my son's phone, he's a triathlete and he wants to win Kona one day. He's only 15. He's not going to Kona anytime soon. You're going to be in your 20s at least. But still, his screensaver is Kona. Okay. Like, he knows how to stay focused on his goals. And believe me, that boy works out a lot for the goals he has with his triathlons. So yeah, everybody benefits from these things that we talk about. Okay. So Jill, you were on the call last week with Clark. I just realized it, right? Were you on? Yeah. Okay. So I didn't get a chance to make all those phone calls last week. I don't know what busier than expected. Can I give you a call and chat with you a little bit more about your goals sometime?
Sure.
Okay, awesome.